Good evening, and welcome in to technically my first regular live. All right, I guess the first live I did was just a test run. If I get a 5x5 from someone there in the chat to let me know that I'm not just talking to myself, I'd greatly appreciate it. And while I wait for that, I will say hello to some people. Um, I guess I'll wait. Okay, Camel Carl says 5x5. Thank you, Camel Carl. Oops, thank you. Welcome in. Let me see. Welcome in, um, Sassy7, Linda Lewis, Jeep Girl, 1979, Rabbit Coyote. Welcome in, PJ. Coffee first and speak. I appreciate it. The shameless plugs that you gave me on your live. I greatly appreciate that. Who else we got coming in here? Pilgrim, welcome in. He says, "Hey, dog, good to see ya. Everybody in the chat. Welcome in, welcome in. Shorty, hello and welcome in. My man Ghost Lincoln is in the building. Pilgrim, welcome in. Let's see who else here we got. KP Heathen. Hey, dog, coffee first. Ghost Lincoln, Sherry, Pilgrim, Rabbit Coyote, and Rip Curl. Saying hello to all those as well. So, 12 Days of Christmas recap. I had fun, and I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you that came in and watched my live streams that competed for the prizes, did the drawings and everything. It's a learning curve for me, you know. So welcome in, Prepared Irishman. So I'm learning, and I appreciate everybody for being respectful and everything while I learn how to do it. And one day I'll be able to put on a show without any hiccups or interruptions or whatever. But you know what? It's live stream, so you can't predict what may happen. And so I want to make sure that I'm staying with the chat and also staying on point with whatever we're talking about. So Robert Bates, welcome in, my friend. Blue Butterfly, hello. But Jules, welcome in. But yeah, so again, I appreciate everybody for coming in for the 12 Days of Christmas, and I look forward to having a bigger and better 12 Days of Christmas next year. So, Carson Logan, welcome in. But yeah, so tonight we're just going to have a discussion on the start of my Monday live streams and things that we're going to go over, talk about reasons why we prepare. Okay, so as you can see in the picture for my thumbnail for my live tonight was, are you prepared for 2025? All right. So a lot of things I want to go over, but I want to make sure I welcome everybody in. The Celtic Grandma, welcome in. If I don't say hello to you, I apologize. I'm trying to stay focused on point and then also read the chat as well. So we all know how it works. But anyways, so with that being said, you know, the whole point of my channel was basically the journey of preparedness and how I do things to prepare myself and my family, my group for anything that may happen. You know, there's a million different reasons. But anyways, preparedness is continued cycle of planning and organization. Also, you have the training, the equipping, the exercising. You have to evaluate all your preps, all your equipment, all your practicing, your training. Also, fixing it. So if you practice something and you go back and evaluate it and you think that maybe it will work better this way, then you correct it. Which is easier to do when you're in a group. When it's just 2 or 3 or 4 people, it's not so much needed. But it's important to know that preparedness is not a one-time task. All right, it is a continued process. So, what are some reasons that you will Blackbird, welcome in. Prepper Book Club, welcome in. What are some reasons that we prepare for? You know, you have emergencies like tornadoes, hurricanes, pandemics, wildfires, extreme heat, extreme cold. I know there was a storm that came through, stretch all the way from the middle of the United States all the way to the East Coast. So from Kansas all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, that storm was hitting a lot of places. So it left behind a destruction in some places. You can't drive around, it knocked power out, all that kind of stuff. So extreme cold all the way to extreme heat. But those are just some of the few things that we prepare for. In my situation, everybody prepares for their own thing. You know, if you live in Florida, you're probably number one preparedness reason is the heat and hurricanes. Okay. So depending on where you live at is gonna differ from place to place. So I'm not going to prepare for the same things as maybe someone in Florida, and they're not going to prepare for somebody that's in Wyoming. Okay. But I try to do mine as a general preparedness for multiple things. Because if you think about it, you look at all the things that you prepare for, you know, the top 10 things to, you know, events, whether it's hurricanes or the tornadoes, a lot of stuff are the same. So, welcome in, Teresa. Vase Place, welcome in. So, I will take a break here. So, like I said, a lot of the things that we prepare for, the reasons have multiple of the same. So, that's what I do. The one thing that I want you to remember is you have to think before you act. We have to stay cool and calm. It doesn't do any good to panic. And that's why we practice our plans. You have it on paper or a tablet. You can't see Little Owl, welcome in. EMP, welcome in. But you practice what you plan, all right? And then when something does happen, now you need to listen to the local government. I said listen. I don't mean do what they say, but listen. What are they saying? The local enforcement, local law enforcement, or your local government, and all the way up to to the national government. To each their own on who they want to listen to as far as if they tell you to do something, whether you listen to it or not. Hey there, Billy. Welcome in. If I did not say hello to you. But anyways, that's totally up to you. So, but with that being said, in order to hear this stuff, you need to have different ways of communication. And some of the talking points, I have some things that I brought in to show you. So communications, one of the most important things to have is an emergency radio. Now this is the E210. It's the first one that has the crank and the solar available to it. They have smaller, cheaper versions of it. This is a Midland, but you can charge it by with a cord, plug it into the wall, or using a solar charger if for whatever reason your solar charger doesn't work on yours. So Kim Carl says 2 soup cans and a string. Well, there you go. That works, right? you have a lot of string if you're going to talk to me from where you're at. But so this is a good thing to have for everybody, and you can pick them up on Facebook Marketplace. I know people trash Facebook. I'm on it to look at Facebook Marketplace to try to find things at a cheaper price, So, but you have things like your ham radios, all right, your two-way radios, and then obviously your cell phone, satellite phones, and then there's the nonverbal communication, and that's a whole different subject versus talking about this stuff, and we'll get into that as well. But the next thing I wanted to talk about is you got to decide on what you're going to do, whether you're going if an emergency happens, depending on what type of emergency, are you hunkering down or are you bugging out? Okay. And each situation is going to be different. So obviously, if your house is on fire, you're not going to shelter in place. If there's a tornado, you're probably not going to bug out as well, until after the fact. So whatever situation is going to dictate what you're doing. G-Ma Merkel says that staying in place. All right. Now my dogs are going crazy. I think my wife just got home, so no problem. Coffee. Appreciate you being in here. But so depending on the situation, depends on what you're going to do, whether you're going to hunker down or bugging out. You need to use common sense in the information that's available. Determine what you're going to do for the immediate danger. All right. Like I said, you utilize your communications to help dictate what you're going to do in order to make the best decision, whether staying in place or bugging out. Either way, whether you're going to shelter in place or bug out, you need to have a plan and have it in advance of what you're going to do. That way, everybody knows in your family what's going to happen if A happens, if B happens, if C happens, or whatever. Have that plan in place in advance. That way, there's no question of what you need to do. Take a break here and welcome in some more people. Half-ass ready, welcome in. Craig, the Hunter, welcome in. Sorry if I sound nasally. My nose is plugged up. I took some medicine earlier, and I woke up a couple days ago. It was in my chest. So, but anyways, let's see if there's anybody else that's come in. I'm sorry if I have missed. Pibble Mama, welcome in. If my mods could somehow get my attention, if someone makes puts a question in there. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I will put up my link if anybody wants to come up and talk about this stuff. It's about the preparedness, so I don't want to get off subject. So, but mods, please help me out with if there's any questions. So, but to get back to what I was talking about, if you're bugging out, all right, hold on. Prepper Book Club asks, what is one prepping failure that you can share? Man, I fail a lot as far as what I'm doing, but I learn from it, when I started canning, I failed a couple times with some of the items that I did. I learned from my mistakes and I redid it. Failed on maybe having a certain amount of something and it went bad. You know, I'll be honest with you. When I first started prepping during the beginning of the last pandemic, um, I bought in mass numbers as vision preparedness calls me big time, because when I buy it in large bulk. But not that it matters to me, but there's some canned goods like canned vegetables or whatever that have gone out past their best by date by a couple years. You know, we try to rotate it, but you can only eat so many green beans or peas. But I'm not worried about that date, and I haven't gotten sick, and I haven't died from eating a can of peas that were expired by a year or two. I'm still here, so um, I guess my organization, as far as my I like to. I'm a visual person, so I need to see things. So I started at the beginning of writing everything down, and one of my failures is not updating it and keeping my lists updated to knowing what I have and what I need to get and everything. So, but hope that answered your question. Kimmel Carl says, more vegetables I eat, the more I want a cheeseburger. Never go wrong with a good old cheeseburger. Absolutely. Yeah. I 9 times out of 10, I don't even look, you know, so I know that everything I have is good. So Rabbit opened up a can. Goods 10 years past the best by date. He's still here. Absolutely, absolutely. So, did I see Die Bullfrog 79 come in? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Welcome in, Uncle Al. Thank you for always, each and every day, tags me in his videos. I greatly appreciate it. So, and as he says, please hit the like button. Helps the live stream. Absolutely. So, but all right. So to get back, so let me look at my notes here, see where we're at. So bugging out, having rally points, and knowing where you're going to go. I suggest, if you're bugging out with your group and you're meeting up at your rally points, to have ways of knowing which route you're going to take. Because if one route is blocked, you need to take another route. So you need to have different routes on each side, left, right, you know, north, west, east, south, however. Um, but have that planned out in advance. And then when you get to that rallying point, you need to have discuss, and this is where the nonverbal communication comes in. Has my taste changed over the past 5 years? Just curious. No, not really. Um, I've always been a pretty simple person as far as what I eat. Um, I don't try a whole lot of new stuff. I guess one of the craziest, newest things that I have tried is uh, sardines, and those things are freaking disgusting. Um, but I guess if I had to eat them in order to survive, I could stomach it. So, see if anybody else has come in here. Dawn E, good to see you, and congratulations, Grandma, on your first grandchild. And I heard it was a granddaughter, I believe. Correct? Yes, blue butterflies. They're yuck. I tried 2 different kinds. I tried just the regular and oil, and then I tried the Louisiana hot sauce. Now that one, was better than the original one. So, Rabbit said mix them with other things. Yeah, I guess I can see that. Pilgrim's not a fan of sardines as well. So, Shorty says sardines and mustard on saltine crackers is good stuff. Well, you can have that. All right. I will be eating other things. So, I have my last things I'll eat that I stock up on. Um, I have several cans of sardines and stuff like that, just because of the nutrient aspect of it. So, spam, I have spam. Um, had that a lot when I was a kid, and as far as an adult, I've had it once in my adulthood, but it's not my most favorite thing. But I will eat it. Carlson Logan says, "Should we eat spam over sardines?" Yeah, I think so too. No sardines for me. I love to see another day. What's up, Jarhead? Hoorah. Welcome in. Ace says, love sardines, oysters, and herring. I don't know. It's just crazy. It comes in a can and it's freaking seafood, I guess, you know. I tried oysters one time and they were fresh oysters down in Louisiana, and I about freaking puked. It was like snot. It was disgusting. But I can say that I tried it and I'll never do it again. So, Craig says extra anchovies, Carl. All right. So now that we're done talking about sardines, we'll get back to this. Um, this is just all my talking points this first night. You know, um, I'm trying something new. I've never really worked with PowerPoint and stuff like that, so I have a bunch of talking points on my PowerPoint presentation. And one thing I need to learn is how to share it with you so you can see what I'm talking about. But I have it here on my other screen, so if I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm looking at this stuff here. But bugging out, you have to plan in advance on how you're going to assemble your family, your friends, your mag, anybody that's going to be involved in your next step of survival. You have to anticipate where everybody's going to go. So, obviously, um, a lot of people think that you're going to just put on a freaking pack like this and go out into the woods and survive. I'm telling you right now, that ain't happening. Um, Maybe you will survive longer down in the warmer areas versus the colder areas. But, when it gets 10, 12, or 10, 20, 30 degrees below zero, it's very unlikely that you're going to have the equipment to stay alive. And also, on the other point of that is the heat. So, try using OBS for doing your lives. It's a free program. I've heard that, but I paid for this for the year, so I'm assuming you mean instead of StreamYard. So I paid for it for the whole year. They did a Black Friday sale, so um, who else have we got coming in here? All right, it's 8:25. We're about halfway, and we're about halfway on my slides, so that's good. See my man come in here? Hell yeah! What's up, bro? Did you win? There was no giveaway today. But I appreciate you coming in, and I guess you could say you did win. You win every day. Um, my presence is your gift. And I'm sure he's like, ah, shit, are you kidding me? Vision Preparedness is a cool dude. I appreciate everything he does. He guessed he didn't win. All right, so everybody's going to say hello to Vision, so I might as well wait because then you're not paying attention to me if you're saying hello to him. So, but I'll drop my link again if anybody wants to chat about what we're discussing. And if you do come up, make sure you know what the hell you're talking about. You know, don't just come up to chit chat. All right, we can do that on open mic nights and stuff like that, but I want to stay on topic. So 34 watching and 31 likes. All right, awesome. So blue butterfly, you're absolutely right. Friends are gifts. So that's why I said Vision 1, because I'm his friend. At least I think I am. So, but anyways, all right, back to our discussion. You know, if you're bugging out on foot, it's going to be different than if you're bugging out in a vehicle. If you're able to utilize a vehicle, make sure you have stuff to make it to your location, extra fuel. I know in my household, our rule is you're not allowed to have your gas tank less than a half tank. So if it gets to a half a tank, you're filling up. I don't care, you know. Now that's just my wife and I tend to be the one that fills up the cars. So I try to keep an eye on that. The kids, they're responsible for themselves. So I'm not there to hold their hands. So I hope that I've installed good values on stuff like that. So, but also with having enough fuel, make sure you have extra stuff like extra oil, extra antifreeze, extra power steering fluid, extra brake fluid in a container in your trunk, in the back of your vehicle, whatever. So that's always good. Have jumper cables, things like that. I have these the 27-gallon yellow and black totes. I have 2.5. So I have 2 of the 27-gallon ones, and then I have one that's half that. That I have all my cold weather stuff in that I have now since it's cold here in Ohio. And then I switch it out in the spring for my spring and summer / fall stuff. I don't have cold weather gear in there all the time. I take it out, I put it in my garage, I open up the containers, I take stuff out, shake it out, wash it, clean it up, whatever. So, sorry, I'm getting a zinger. But anyways, all right, back to my point. Make sure you have all the stuff in order to get from where you're at, point A to point B. Become familiar with your route. You know, don't say you're going to go from your house to your bug out location and not check it out, not drive it. Obviously, for a lot of people that have a bug out location, you already know where it's at, and you hopefully you've been there. But also have maps. Have maps of your area. That way, 9 times out of 10, everybody's using their GPS on their phone or their vehicle to get them to point A to point B. Did I see East Tennessee Preparedness come in? Yes, I did. He is working and watching in. I appreciate it, brother. Yes, stay safe, especially you. You're in and outside, and it's not the warmest weather down there either. So, but let's see, who's this? I got a huge map. my typo. All right. I'm not familiar with your name, but welcome in. I hope that you're subscribed. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm here to pass out information and help you guys so we can come out on the other end on a good foot and alive and everything else. So, but anyways, all right. So moving on. A part of your bugging out, if you're taking a vehicle, have it on the fluids and everything. Having that route planned out ahead of time. Every county, I know every county in Ohio, you can get a county map, which will have the more rural roads on it, and you can highlight the area you're going to go. Just practice that stuff. I know there's people out there that have caches buried between point A and point B. And point C and point D and however else you get until you get to where you're going. So obviously you need a map to figure that one out or have it in your head. But that's one thing that I think is, it's not a failure on my part. I just do things, and I don't tell like my kids or even my wife. I mean, like, a banking account information. I mean, I do everything, and it's not that I'm controlling or anything like that, but I just do it, and it works. The way we do things, it works. But if something were to happen to me, then she would have no idea on how to make the house payment and all that other stuff. But I do have a notepad with all the information down. She knows what bank we're at and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried on that end. But bugging out, I'm scatterbrain. Do me a favor. If you're bugging out, okay. I was wondering who you were. He is half-ass ready son. He's been meaning to make it into a stream. Pops has credit. I appreciate that. Thank you. I needed that smile. All right. Back to what I was saying here. Darn it. Now I'm getting distracted. She's back for real. Just finished eating. Awesome. And I was listening to your live while I was typing up my stuff. So I wasn't on your chat coffee a whole lot. And now I have a whole week to prepare for next week. But anyways, do me a favor. If you are bugging out. Oh, okay. Hoorah. Another fellow jarhead. Awesome. I'm not sure how to pronounce his first part of his YouTube name. My man, I don't even know. I'm not even going to try it because I'm going to screw it up. But anyways, if you're bugging out, take your damn pets with you, okay? There's no way in hell I would leave my dogs behind. There's no way. I would leave food or whatever behind to give them Myrmidon. Okay. All right, cool. Little Lone Prepper says, I hope I'm able to hunker down. If there's absolutely no choice but to leave, I sure pray that it won't be in the winter. Yeah. And that's a decision that a lot of people have to make, if it's in the winter time, more people are going to probably tend to hunker down or shelter in place versus bugging out because of the weather. So if you're in a cold place, my man, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, what is going on, brother? I hope that you are, I shouldn't say having a good time, but able to do the things that you're supposed to do. And I hope that you had a safe trip. And if you're on your way back, have a safe trip on your way back. But yes, please take your pets with you. I hate watching TV and I see these commercials for the um, donate $5. You have these millionaires making these commercials, and I always think in my head, I wonder how much money um, they've donated to it, and they're asking us. It's sort of like The Rock and Oprah asking us to donate to their cause, and they're freaking billionaires. Hudson Valley says services tomorrow morning. I'll be heading home after. Okay. Well, please send our thoughts and prayers onto Jason and his family for their loss, and know that we are thinking about them and continue praying. So, but all right, back to this. Your pets can't fend for themselves per se. Um, Yeah, half-ass Ray says if I can't take my dog, I'm not going. Absolutely. I will find a way to get my dogs in the vehicle if I need to. And if I'm on foot, guess what? They can walk with me, and they're great protection, and they're great about telling if someone's coming up because they can smell a hell of a lot better than we can. But anyways, all right. So that's the next point we'll talk about is if you're going from point A to point B and you have to stay in a shelter for, let's say, a hurricane or a tornado, make sure that the places that you stay at are pet friendly. Um, and don't worry about it, East Tennessee Preparedness. It's just good to have you in here and listening in. So, but yeah, double check to make sure you're allowed to have your pets in there. Don't leave them in the car or whatever. So, but now you're bugging out, or even if you're sheltering in place, you need to have your basic emergency kit. All right. So obviously, I have my first aid kit with everything I need to do. I have this bag. I have a lot of bags, one for each season, and man, these damn pains. Anyways, this is my other bug out bag that I have. I put in my truck every time I go anywhere. But it just has your basic things: a way of purifying water, a way of cooking my meals in my containers that I have, the yellow and black 27-gallon bags. I have freeze dried food in there, um, and things like that. I have a way of cooking things. I have extra clothing. Obviously, the map that I showed you earlier, stuff like that. Water. You at a minimum of 1 gallon a day. You are probably going to go through a lot more than that. So um, I plan for more than just 1 gallon a day because it's not only for drinking, but it's also for sanitation. Washing your dishes, washing your body, brushing your teeth, hygiene wise. Okay, or if you're staying in, um, flushing the toilets. Uh, Unless you plan on doing your business in a bucket, but then what are you going to do with it? Um, Not every situation, uh, every emergency situation, are you going to lose um, power or the ability to do that. So again, there's a million different emergencies that you can be prepared for. This is just a general purpose preparedness channel, and we can go into different emergencies if you want to. Rabid Coyote says he recommends 5 gallons per day per person if you have the room. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe get 1 gallon of water is 8 pounds. So that's 8 pounds in your vehicle if you're going somewhere. Um, I recommend a 14-day supply. So 8 pounds times 14 gallons is 114 pounds, I believe, if I did my math right. So that's one person. So if you have a family of 5, you're taking that 114 times 5. That's a lot of extra weight and a lot of extra space to put in there. So you need a way of purifying your water. I have a reverse osmosis system, thanks to another preparedness channel who had it on theirs. I checked it out. I liked what they had to say on their thing. So I bought it. And make sure you have extra filters for your purification system as well. So, and please don't just leave the shit in the boxes. You got to get them out and you got to use them, which is one good thing about doing meetups like Vision Preparedness Bug Out Weekend. You get to bring the stuff out into the wilderness and try it out. You can live as basic out there as you want, or you can bring your generators like some people do and have air conditioning at the Bug Out Weekend. We had that, and to each their own. So please get the equipment out and utilize it. It would suck to have that equipment and you need it and you didn't try it out, and when you got it out when you absolutely needed it and it don't work, or you have no idea what to do. Who we got? Okay, Camel's coming up. What's up, Camel?
What's going on, dog? You're talking my language, really. I thought I'd come up, maybe talk a little bit about bugging out,
All right.
I don't know if you know how I live, but I haven't lived in a house in like 5 years, right? I custom made myself a big military tent, all right, military style, using all military, grade fabrics and stuff. And I either stay in that or I stay in I've got a 1977 M886. It was a Dodge full-time four-wheel drive ambulance body that was used as a radio truck. And I've modified that for my needs. I've got a military wood stove in here. I've got a bunk that I can fold out. I've got my industrial sewing machine, my field desk, a big workbench with all my parts. And I got solar and all this stuff on here. But when it comes to, like you were saying, you've got several bags of bug out bags, or, for whatever suits your needs or season. Yeah. Well, the way I live, I can only carry so much. Mm-hmm. All right. So it's not like I can prep a whole lot of supplies, but I've got, for like fuels, I've got a couple 20-pound propane tanks. Those store inside the front cab above the driver and passenger in a corner. And on the outside of the truck, I've got 4 of 6 jerry can mounts that are going on. I've got 4 in the back. I got 2 more I got to get for the front, but I carry about 12 5-gallon military issue gas cans. On top of that, I have 4 5-gallon water cans. I always tell people the Scepter government issue military water cans are the shit. All right. I've had them for over 25 years. They've never failed me. They expand when the water freezes. They're almost indestructible, and I trust them. And they fit right in the same storage pocket that any 5-gallon jerry can would hold. Right. But on top of what I carry on myself, for instance, I never go anywhere without a Leatherman, a mag light, my wallet, my keys, a lighter. I usually carry a poncho with me, a rain poncho, and adequate clothing. All right. And there's a few other things I'll throw in my pocket, some snacks, make sure I got at least a bottle of water on me. But as like with the truck, I can detach my main camp, which is the big custom tent I made, so it's like I've got cots and a folding table and a wood stove to go in there. And it's a 17.5 by 17 big area, screen netting and winter walls and insulation. And I can use it year round I made that over 25 years ago. And, From there, if I wanted to use a smaller tent, I got another custom tent that I can use that's more of like a two-person tent. I can also have a wood stove in. Nowadays, they call them hot tents, but I made
Yep.
it out of custom Cordura nylon. All this stuff I'm talking about is on my page, by the way. Anyways, from there, I can go from a couple size tents down to my mobility packs, where I've got a full backpack that I keep either set for winter or hot weather. Right now I've got it all geared up with my Arctic bag and extra clothing, and I keep the canteens empty and stuff because with the Thermarest pad and everything in it, it'll float the way it is.
Yeah.
But from there, I can drop that bedroll and go 3-day pack with it. It's a military issue Alice pack. It's also on my page. It's heavily modified, and you can drop the pack and use it as a pack board for carrying like 5-gallon water cans or something. You could carry anything large on that pack frame. And from there, now I've got my medical pouches are all separate. My cooking kits and food packs are all separate. And yeah, I keep them all mounted on the walls of my truck, including weaponry or gas mask or, ghillie suit or any of the additional equipment I keep bagged up and ready to go that I could add or clip or tie onto my existing pack as I needed it,
Yeah.
and from there, I've got what I've also posted on my page is what I call my tactical fanny pack. If I had to ditch everything and really take off, I've got that last ditch fanny pack. I've got poncho. I've got a modified poncho liner in it. I've got a canteen cup, some gloves and all the, necessities, like if you were just down and out and had to have that. So
Yep.
it's like the point what I was getting to is like if you're going to set something up to bug out, or even if you're bugging in, it's nice to have stuff if you had to go and ready, and the idea was is just that if I had to, I could systematically shed everything I had to down to nothing. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And I've been doing this a long time, dog. I started my bug out bag in the 1980s, and been into this kind of lifestyle for a long time. So, but I just thought I'd jump up here and give you some of that.
Right on. I appreciate it. Yeah. And that's just it. My bags that I have are ready to go are staged different places in the house. You should have a bug out bag ready to go in case, even if you are staying, sheltering in place, if something were to happen, if your house catches on fire, I don't know anybody that's going to stay there. They're going to get out. So have them staged in specific areas in your house. That way you can grab it and go, and at least you have something to survive with. Um, but there's all kinds of different bags. There's the bug out bag, which obviously are bigger than these bags here. Um, and then there's like get home bags and stuff, which this is what this is a get home bag, 3 or 4 days.
Right
So
Right on. I've heard all those terms, and I think they're all a good idea. But I guess what I would recommend is you make I feel weird without my Leatherman on me. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? If I go anywhere, even if I'm riding with somebody else to go somewhere or something, if without that Leatherman on me, I feel, you know, kind of worthless. All right. If I had to cut something, take something apart, fix something, whatever it is, you know, I got to have certain things on me to feel like I could handle something. If
Well, I,
you
I always I always have my Gerber multi tool with me. I always have my EDC flashlight always on me.
you know what I mean. You
I
know what
always
I
have
mean. What's up, Clark?
everyday carry knife, and then obviously I go a little bit more and have my more hard self defense tools that I carry with me everywhere I go as well. So
Right on. I had a Gerber before too. I've actually had a couple of them, but I remember one that like the plier part slid out of the handle, and those work pretty good. But I had a Leatherman since like '84 or something.
okay,
Somebody gave me one for a gift back when it was a lifetime warranty, because now they're like a 25-year warranty. But I've just been partial to Leatherman for so long that I got the Leatherman Super Tool. That thing's got a hacksaw in it. It's got a saw you can cut small trees down in no time flat. It's pretty much
yep,
got everything you need.
absolutely. And to each their own on the equipment that they purchase based on what they can afford. Well, let's see here.
Yeah, if I had to replace all this or start over right now, that would be expensive as hell. I've been collecting this stuff for decades, man, and some of it was hard to find back in the day. So it's
well, it's crazy the places that I have found some items that I've purchased. Just Sam's Club had these Gerbers on in the store. I picked up several of them. Each one of the Ohio gang, um, they all got them. I sent them or gave them to them. Um, and like these knives, I saw Home Depot had these Gerber knives, and I picked up a couple extra of them because my everyday carry, in case something happens to it, I got a couple extra. So that's another thing when you're doing this journey of preparedness is one is none, two is one, and one is none. So you have to have a backup to a lot of your things.
that's
Or
why I was teasing you about asking if you had a Gerber endorsement yet, because I see you like that brand. It's a good brand. They make great knives and stuff.
I should contact them as much as I've given away. So,
You
but
got to keep saying the word Gerber. You keep saying Gerber, and eventually maybe their algorithm will find you.
yeah, yep, absolutely. But yeah, I'm gonna get back here on the point of my stuff. We're getting close to the hour mark. So, but um, as far as like your communications, whether it's a ham radio or a two-way radio, um, is having solar
Well,
bank.
that's where you got me. You got me there with the communications because I have no radios. I've got a all band weather radio that you can
Yeah.
listen to, but I don't have any communication yet.
Well, my first ham radio I was given by the leader of the Ohio gang. Trent made sure that every one of us had a ham radio, and you can go on Amazon if you want or whatever, or find someone to get it for you. They're fairly cheap to have, and you don't even have to do the classes if you don't want to. Um, you can have it just to listen. That's a huge point. Turn it on and find your frequency of your area and just listen to what people are saying, and you could use it for that way. But
Yeah,
you
you
have
can
to.
find out what's going on at least. What's
Yep.
up, Matt? Good to see you, Mac and Roman.
Oh
Uh,
yes, Maccabeus
I'm
is
I'm
here.
shooting I'm shooting for an old school CB system, preferably with
Okay.
the PA.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to start. I'm not worried about any handheld because it's just me right now.
Yeah.
So, but in
Well,
time.
you have to have a way of charging the stuff too. So I mean, I've picked up some pretty cool solar banks. Um, Dan H gave me this one at the bug out weekend. It's a Marine Corps um, solar bank, but
Oh, that's cool.
along with that, you have to make sure that you have the cords to go with it to charge your stuff. So, um, like this, the
I did
flashlight.
get I got a couple of 12-volt solar panel systems. I've got a extra battery tray out of an old radio truck in here mounted, and that's one of the next projects. I have to do some wiring and stuff, but I've got the panels, I've got the battery system, and I've made a junction box that I've got 12-volt, accessories and the old cigarette lighter options on it and stuff. And that's in the process. It's but I've got one of those charging banks and stuff, and just the way the vehicle is now, I can charge stuff 12 volt, but I'm going to have it where I can charge multiple devices in different locations in the truck and stuff.
But I'm tending to. I have lots of batteries, but those go bad over time.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
rechargeable batteries, and when I buy stuff like this Duracell flashlight, I did give away 2 different sets of that during my 12 days of Christmas. But this one has a spot where you can unscrew it or screw it back up. And if you unscrew it, it has a C port where you can USB C port where you could use your solar bank to charge your flashlight up, and now you have your flashlight.
That's cool stuff. I've got the truck in all sides of it. I've got different solar lights that it just all they are is little solar panels that operate. I got one string light. I've got a motion detector one, and I got a few of these things and an LED one. So I got free light
Yeah.
all the time. I don't have to use any power for lighting at all. And I've got so many going through this stuff, repacking it, dog, because I'm getting ready to roll around the country with this. And as I was going through all this, I got like 15 flashlights, man. I think it's overkill, but I didn't, until you go through your stuff, you don't realize how much stuff you really have.
If one breaks, you have another one to back it up. But real quick,
Yeah.
Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival says, get your ham license so you can practice. He has a free class coming up online. Find him on Facebook. Mike, if you want to drop your Facebook link, I don't know if that works here on YouTube or not, but anybody can drop their link that they want. If you have a content that you want people to have out, I don't mind. If you can't, tell one of the mods and they can drop your link, and I appreciate that. But yeah, to just go over a couple more things before we end this live. One of the things about the emergency kits that you want to consider is like over-the-counter medication for headaches or fevers or whatever, and then any prescription medication that you might be on. Try to have a 90-day supply if you can. I know my insurance will pay for a 180-day supply, so that's what I get mine.
I don't have any medications or anything. I've never had that. I don't like doing pills or nothing. But there is a product I recommend for people's medical kits. And I'm not a doctor. I might have played one a couple times in the bedroom, but that was just, I'm not a doctor. Anyway, they got the stuff you get it even at Walmart. You just probably usually have to have it shipped to that store, but it's called Amphotericin, and it's an all natural antibiotic. It's the only antibiotic I can find that you can buy over the counter, and it's worked. All right, I've had infections before, and I used it, and it pulled me out of that. So I highly recommend having some of that stuff because it's got a good shelf life too. Most antibiotics have a shelf life; they don't last very long. You got to refrigerate them or whatever. This stuff is good. Little capsules.
Well, too, and also trying to live a more holistic life. I've learned that you can grow things like oregano and make oregano oil. You can grow what is it that Shad had? I've been taking it for my lungs. Mullein.
Yeah, mullein.
There's so many things that you can grow, and I have a book, which is one of the points that I had talking about first aid books and different things, and having an herb book that tells you what herbs you grow in your area and what they're good for. I have a couple.
I got 2 cents to add to that too, but I want to tell Craig it's like AMPTRYX. It's like that. It's that. I think that's how it's spelled. It's amphotericin.
Okay.
Anyways, with what you're talking about, back in the 80s, my mom kind of tricked me. All right, growing up as a kid, she taught me certain things I could chew on and eat out of the fields and woods. All right, and I didn't really click on me, but she grew up in the Great Depression. She was born just before it started, and she lived through the Great Depression in the middle of the Dust Bowl, just north of Amarillo, Texas. That's where she grew up. So, she didn't like even see ice cream or something until she was like 16 years old or something. Anyways, lots of stories about that. But she kind of tricked me into what I knew by the time I was a teenager, certain things I could munch on right out of the woods. And I'm not talking just about berries and stuff like that. And by the 80s, I started hitting up libraries and I started studying, dog. And I found here in Michigan alone over 130 edible and medicinal plants, trees, and flowers in my
Nice,
area that I
nice.
located and tested and tried it. And I mean, it's all over the board. There's, just look up something called the supermarket of the swamp because
Mhm.
it's one of the most recognizable plants. Everybody knows what a cattail is. All
Mhm.
right. And it has so many usable pieces and the Indians utilized it, and it really is like a little supermarket. It can provide you a lot, but
Yes.
just make sure you get stuff like that out of clean water sources and stuff. You can't get it out of roadside ditches and stuff like that. But it
Yeah.
goes on and on. You're talking about the mullein plant, also known as cowboy TP. All right. Because natives and pioneers use that as toilet paper because it's an antiseptic. You can bruise the leaf and rub your arm, scratches and bug bites. And it's an antiseptic. It'll help, but
Absolutely.
it's also soft and velvety. It comes up in a little cluster of a plant in the field, and it's very distinguishable. It's like velvet covered leaves,
Yep.
and you can make a tea out of it. You can help with lung issues and stuff like that. But there's a stalk during the seeding process that grows really tall out of the center out of it. And at the tip of the stalk, there's a seed pod with a bunch of small, little tiny black seeds, and the Indians used to use that for fishing. They would grind up those little black seeds into a powder and sprinkle it across the lake, and every fish would be paralyzed and float to the top. Now, this is
Nice.
highly illegal. All right. You can't do this anymore. This is illegal. I'm not telling anybody to do it. But it's like what I'm trying to get to is nature had everything we needed. It provided everything that we required, substance, medicine, everything. And we just lost track of it, man. They hide it from us basically.
Mhm.
So, I always recommend people get like some books from, like Tom Brown. He just passed away not long ago, but he was a wilderness tracker and he taught special forces and all kinds of people tracking skills and stuff. And he's got a series of books that are really just gold. And then go from there and like pick up different manuals on those plants and animals in your area, and you can learn so much that you could use. You know,
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know there's people out there that don't like Amazon. Um, I utilize Amazon as much as I can or want because one, you can find just about anything that you want, and it's not all Chinese made stuff. There's stuff on there, like the books that I got are people from the United States that have written it and stuff like that. So, but just get books on first aid, on how to do basic carpentry, how to do basic gardening, how to um, just there's all
the
kinds.
Bible for that. There's a Bible for this. All right, it came out I think 1982 or 83. It's called Back to Basics. It's a
Yep.
Reader's Digest publication, and
Yep.
this really put this type of living back on the map for a lot of people. It came out of like this
Mhm.
in the 70s. They had the Mother Earth News and all these different publications that were pushing back to basic type living. And there's a Back to Basics too. It's nowhere as good as the first one, but if you're a beginner or a novice, that's what you want. That's the first book you ought to get. Is Back
Yep.
to Basics by Reader's Digest.
Yep. I believe I have that. But as far as like having, I have another thumb drive that I have that has all kinds of recipes on it. Um, I can't remember how to cook everything, but so I have a lot of recipes on this. I have a hard copy and several, lots of cookbooks, but I have recipes that I've printed off of the internet. We try them out. We like them. We keep them. If we don't, we throw them away. Whatever. But just having different things like that to keep your palate guessing on what you're gonna eat. If you're bugging in or staying in or bugging out. Learning how to cook different ways. But
Absolutely. But they're talking about mushrooms now. Can I say one more thing before I'll just shut up?
go ahead. Go ahead.
About mushrooms. Now, there are many types of mushrooms that are edible that people use,
Yep.
but you have to be 100% sure. I mean, no room for error what you're
Hmm.
doing. Right? There are hallucinogenic mushrooms. There's about 12 species that grow wild in the United States and stuff. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about mushrooms that'll kill you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And some mushrooms look just like an edible, but the only way to determine whether or not it's edible or not is to shake it over a piece of white paper and see what color the spores are. All right. So there's like a science to this shit. I've had and have so many books on mushrooms, and none of them say the same thing. All right, I'll
Mm-hmm.
go into what everybody knows about the morel mushroom. So I'll mention this. There's a version of a mushroom called the hell of a species. It's also known as a false cap. And it looks like a morel mushroom, but the difference is the cap doesn't close to the stem of the mushroom like a morel does. There's no veil. There's no, on a morel, it closes right to the stem. And now, in the book, I tell you most of them, oh, it's caustic, it's poisonous, not recommended for use. But in fact, I know people that prefer the hell of a species. So there are certain people that have grown like a tolerance to them, and they like the taste better. And so some books will say, oh, it's sought after by some. Some will say highly poisonous. Others say may cause some indigestion. So you just can't take one book's word for it. Even that's how complicated mushrooming is. You gotta know your shit.
Correct. And that's what you're not going to see on my channel, like some channels out there where they tell you just to go eat shit that grows out in the yard and stuff. Because one, I don't know what you have growing there, and there's so many different ways that could go wrong. So,
Yeah. Some of them will
it,
kill you if you touch them and then rub your face. All
yeah,
right. Destroying angels and panther caps and all these, which, I guess when shit hits the fan world, that might even be useful information. But, you don't want to do it accidentally to yourself.
yeah. But yeah, no, I mean that's the whole point of me pushing for people to get the books to study and to know what grows in their area. Um, and that works also with like heirloom seeds for your garden. Make sure that those heirloom seeds are from vegetables and fruits that grew in your area. Um, I learned that. I bought some. I don't know if it was whatever plant it was, and it was from somewhere outside of my area, and they really didn't grow that well. But they're not used to my area, so
Did you know that your body is more attuned to a locally grown honey in your area? That if you have allergies or anything, if you
yep,
buy a raw, unprocessed honey from your direct area, because the bees pollinate from your area and make that honey, that it can improve like I tell anybody, if you got any kind, at least for me, I'm going to put it this way. Anytime I feel like I've got a cold coming on or any kind of sickness, I drink one organic lemon squeezed into a cup with a whole bunch of raw, unprocessed local honey with some water as a tea. And it has brought me back from a lot of things. Last time I was sick was like 2019. But yeah, that's what I believe in,
absolutely. Well, I appreciate all your information, and we'll continue this on other lives as well. But I'm going to finish up here with what I have on my PowerPoint
Yeah,
presentation.
I was trying to stay on topic. I was. And I
Hey, you're
thank
good.
you for letting me up here, dog. I always enjoy it. I'll let
Yeah.
you go on at the end on your own, and
All right.
I'll
I
see you
appreciate it.
somewhere soon, brother.
All right. Right on. If you guys haven't subscribed to Camel Caro, if one of my mods could drop his link, I'd appreciate it. But just to finish up here on my PowerPoint presentation that I have, if you're considering bugging out, make sure that you have all the appropriate stuff, the food, the water, medicines, the extra supplies, whatever, sleeping bags, ways of staying warm, especially now that winter's here in most of the upper part of the country. Um, you need to make sure you can stay warm. So that is my last thing on that one. Also, one of the things that you need to do is dress for the environment, um, have the appropriate clothing, um, and also for the area that you're at. So if you're walking through the woods and all that kind of stuff, you're going to want to have long sleeve shirts on. This also protects you from the sun, so you're not getting uh, sunburn, and it'll also protect your arms from getting scratched up and causing infections and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you have good shoes, a good pair of boots, whether they're hiking boots or good work boots, leather boots, something like that. So, also, one good thing to have on hand is a little bit of bleach to help uh, make water drinkable or whatever. Also, to help sanitize areas, um, have a way to get the water and then whether you boil it or filter it or whatever. So, just a couple more things. If you are sheltering in place or even bugging out in the vehicle, make sure you have a fire extinguisher um, in your house or in your vehicle to put out any fires in case you have that happen with you. And then on the other end, make sure you have matches in order to start a fire, a controlled fire per se. So, and then females with their feminine products, personal hygiene items, make sure you stock up on that kind of stuff. Um, and then, like in my bug out bags and my get home bags, I have um, different things to cook in, which a lot of it's stainless steel, but to have extra forks or something like that, um, and plates or whatever, however you want to eat. And then, of course, having a notebook and a pen. Um, in this one, I have a notebook that I got that I used. Well, I used several of these when I was in the Marine Corps. I liked them and I bought several of them. And I keep a lot of my stuff in my bags in vacuum sealed uh, packages. That way they stay dry and stay clean. So, but that's one thing. And then obviously like compasses and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get into breaking down a lot of these points that I've talked about so far in the weeks to come. And then obviously once the weather is permittable, we can possibly get back into doing videos or whatever, talking about stuff that we're doing outside, gardening, canning. Right now, I have nothing to can per se. I guess I'm gonna try to do some chicken, can some chicken that I'm gonna go get, and or there are some items in the freezer that I want to start processing, like my pork butts that I have in there. I want to can some of those, but also I'm going to make some breakfast sausage out of that and also can some of that as well. But I appreciate everybody sticking with me. I know it's a little long-winded tonight, but these are just things that I want to talk about, and we'll break it down more. I'm hoping to have some people on here like Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival and Vision Preparedness and the Roman Prepper and stuff like that. They're preparedness people from different areas, and they can kind of give their insight on their stuff. So, but it's not going to be limited to just them. If anybody throughout my lives want to come up and talk about this or have advice, um, I'm not opposed to that. But with that being said, thank you for being here tonight. I will see you again next Monday at 8 p.m. and we will continue talking about preparedness in 2025. So, all right, guys, thank you again. And with that being said, I want you guys to all stay safe, stay vigilant, and stay prepped. Have a good night.